Hi, my name is Dania. I'm going to talk about French influence on English. I chose this topic because French and English are two languages that I really loved. And also, in my point of view, I think that it's very important to know the whole history of English. And it's very interesting how many languages influence English. So let's go to the information. French influence on English. As we have seen during the semester, the English had many influences like German, Latin, Norse, and among these languages we could find French. French vocabulary influenced Middle English, especially Norman French. An important fact was when Edward the Confessor succeeded to the throne because several of the French nobles were given high positions. The main influence of English was French. This language introduced to Britain following William of Normandy's ascension, and within 20 years of invasion, almost all the religious houses were under French speaking. English people learning French in order to gain advantages from the aristocracy and baronial staff learning English. By the end of the 12th century, children of the nobility spoke English as a mother tongue and had to be taught French in school. Also, there were handbooks written for the teaching of French. French continued to be used in parliament, courts, and in public proceedings. In 1204, a different political climate emerged. King John of England came into conflict with King Philip of France, and he was obligated to give up control of Normandy. The English nobility lost their estates in France. That's why the 100 Years' War. French was the language of government, law, administration, literature, and the church. Middle English spelling. The text of the Peterborough Chronicle show us some of the important features of Middle English. Spelling, for example, the th, spelling for p, or the g for ch. As the period progressed, spelling changed. The Norman scribes listened to the English they heard around them and began to spell it according to the conventions they had used for French, as QU instead of CW, like queen, GH instead of H, like high or enough, CH instead of C, like church, and OU instead of U, like house. By the beginning of the 15th century, English spelling was a mixture of two systems, Old English and French. Middle English sounds. Several consonant sounds came to be spelled differently because of French influence. For example, SC to SCH like ship, C to CH like church, and WG to DH like bridge. Long vowel sounds came to be marked with an extra vowel letter like C, and book, and book. Short vowels were identified by consonant doubling, for example, sitting and sitting. Several sounds altered during early Middle English period. There was a restructuring of the Old English vowel system. The original diphthongs became pure vowels and new diphthongs emerged. Certain consonants at the end of the syllable came to be pronounced in a vowel like manner. The sounds became much more important because of its use in French loanwords and began to distinguish pairs of words, as it does today. For example, v, f, like feel, vil, and z, like zeal and zeal. Middle English grammar. The most important grammatical development was the establishment of fixed patterns of word order to express the relationship between clause elements. There was already a tendency towards subject, verb, and object. Middle English vocabulary. French influence became increasingly evident in English manuscript of the 13th century. It has been estimated that some 10,000 French words came into English at that time. These words were largely due with the mechanisms of law, also administration, but they include words from such fields as medicine, art, and fashion. These are some words that we use in English nowadays. For example, authority, corner, court, crown, cathedral, religion, army, soldier, biscuit, bacon, cream, boots, dress, beauty, anatomy, etc. Over 70% were nouns constructed using such new French affixes, for example, con, trans, pre, shun, meant, and ons. Old English and French words often both survive. For example, doom, judgment, hearty, cordial, house, and mansion. The French of the Norman conquerors was another dialect of the language, and this dominated the English for 200 years. As we could see, nowadays we use some French words when we speak English because of the French influence on English. I think it's important that we as future English teachers know the whole history of English, mainly its origins. All in all, this kind of information gives us a longer knowledge about English culture. Merci pour votre attention.